I have spent way too many hours in my life trying to make Gmod into the ultimate boomer shooter in 2026, using Lua coding, a bunch of workshop mods, and hell imagination. Garry's mod is a standalone mod of the game Half-Life 2 and the game Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. With it being a physics sandbox of the same game with the same engine, you can literally make a lot of wacky stuff. So, with a bunch of mods and tweaks, I decided to use Garry's mod to go with a more Half-Life 2 Deathmatch remaster approach, considering that game was pretty lacking back then. Man, let me tell you about Half-Life 2 Deathmatch. It was supposed to be a better version of the previous dinosaur version of the Half-Life Deathmatch, but I don't know if anybody ever played it, but when playing with these weapons in multiplayer, it just seems like it's just very lackluster, especially compared to the older one. But like, the basis of the game was you played in online with your friends in a deathmatch or with bots. Bunch of wacko bots that have a lust for just straight revenge and bloodthirstiness and different difficulty tweaks. You can also do both with a combination of bots and players to make one crazy wacky server. The weapons and equipment and all that, it doesn't feel great compared to the other ones in other games. It just feels a little weird, is the best way to put it. Half-Life Deathmatch was more fast-paced, the weapons were more fun, the arsenal was more crazier, more wackier things you could do with it. It's just like, and it was very moddable too, so it's kind of like me also doing the right path of doing the same thing with Garry's mod. Back then we used to do things like B-hop, space jump, all that crazy stuff, but in Garry's mod, we're going to have it to where you can float around and just movement's just going to be completely free. Half-Life 2 Deathmatch just felt more unfinished. Like, there is the cool things with the gravity gun. You can shoot grenades and props at your friends. That's still pretty fun. And of course, that also made Garry's mod what it is today. But like the physics of these three games is just wacky enough to just do crazy things while playing. So why not take Half-Life 2 Deathmatch and take a bunch of community mods and tape them together with some Lua duct tape and get you some crazy boomer shooter going on? Why not? For a while, Garry's mod was a game that we played with friends and we just fucking just did whatever we felt like doing. It went from being chased by crazy NPCs that you found on the workshop or a bunch of SCPs trying not to eat your flesh across the map, you know, stuff like that, and while your homie's got a bunch of C4 strapped to his back, you know, stuff like that. But as we kept finding more and more mods, it became more of a kill him, kill everything, shoot him. That gun's cool. That gun is great. I like that gun. This gun sucks. Kill him with that. Oh, can't believe I did that. Trick shot. But with the mod support just evolving and evolving even more, I found myself stopping to just reconfigure everything and try to get everything to work together while finding even more cool shit to add to the plate. And somehow it's working. I'm not done yet, but we're getting pretty close. So I thought to myself, why stop at basic Half-Life modding when you got the mod tools to make it like to take all the elements from other games and put it together, you know, like any other game people make these days. I started doing mod focusing on elements that came from other arcade games around that same era. The era I like to call personally myself the golden shooter era, you know, games like from Halo, we had the Call of Duty, we had Quake, we had Unreal, we had Counter-Strike, from, you know, all these games, we had Time Splitters, we had 007, all these kind of games had very similar elements, some a little different than others. A lot of that stuff made them more unique than the things we deal with today. These games are usually fast-paced, in-your-face, you know, shoot him before he shoots me, get the high score, get it down, show off everything you learned. Some of these games have movement mechanics where it makes you push around, dash, air dodging, double jumping, stuff like that. Most of these games use quick, pick up a gun you found, get to shooting before they shot you. Most of the time people drop guns, you can pick up their gun, shoot them with that gun, and it's pretty amazing the way that you can just combine things together if you're really good at it. Give them a couple body shots with assault rifle, shoot them in the face with a sniper. If that ain't work, throw a grenade across the wall, bounce off, blow them up. A lot of these games had like arcade settings that you can customize and modify to make the, you know, the matches and rounds whatever way you want it. And a lot of these games were jam-packed with a lot of crazy batshit bots. When I say batshit crazy, like some of them were either really brain dumb stupid or just complete aimbot god tier shooter. Like a lot of them, some of them even shit talked, and a lot of them just mimic other players, but sometimes they will give you a run for your money. As time progresses, we started coming into the newer type games where it's more of a realistic simulation of shooting into a more realistic setting. Things started getting more seriously, and it started getting more nitty gritty and down more to business. But essentially, it's still the same. You join the game, you build up your friends, or with bots, or with both, and you just fucking go nuts. Online multiplayer was just simple. You got into it, you started playing, that's it. Sometimes you had to unlock guns through doing achievements or getting a certain amount of ranks or points. Sometimes you can customize the guns in where you want. Loadouts, stuff like that. And these things, they tend to advance as we go. But in the end, it's still the same concept. For the longest, we were stuck in this sandbox mode in order to do all this stuff. But as time progressed, I started finding more game modes, especially ones similar to these arcade games, maybe to get deathmatch, team deathmatch, and other bunch of wacky other things, and get my hands on this thing called deathmatch democracy, where you pretty much all the players vote for whatever weapon they want. They randomize it, and that's what everybody start with. Loadouts, shit like that. I started focusing more on making free movement, also by keeping a little balance between realism. Customizing your own weapons is a thing, and also picking up weapons off the ground is also a thing. I wanted to make the cheapest knockoff of almost every video game ever and just put it all into one and just keep the fun elements and just stuff like that. You can choose to collect as many weapons as you want, or we can have a weapon limit. It's all up to us. Game modes interchangeable, content interchangeable, player models interchangeable. It's a lot easier to keep up with this than buy a bunch of operator packs and battle passes that we have no business touching. Just cut all the middle bull crap out, shoot a fat off, and get straight into the game. Simple as that. Because of the Source engine, and specifically for the Half-Life 2 Deathmatch / Garry's mod part of it, it needs to be goofy. It needs to be over the top. It needs to, because the way bodies fly, the way they just blow up, and just the physics and everything is just hilarious. And everything just seems to tie into it and make it so much more fun. Again, this isn't just some single player bot madness. This can happen with many players if we can fit. One thing I like about Call of Duty is that they like to hype up your kills. One thing I like about Halo is that every death is extraordinary and it looks so gruesome. 007 and Time Splitters had you doing a whole bunch of wacky characters playing in a bunch of cool lobbies. And a lot of these games, their bots cannot be slept on. You ever played CS bots? The things are crazy. If you're someone who played a lot of Doom or Quake, you're used to all the bullets being shot at you, so you're probably going to realize it actually got dodge features. It literally felt like I just walked into an abandoned warehouse of just a fountain of broken dreams of old, appreciated game types and mods that are not even being used anymore, and just said go to town. Titanfall and Black Ops had us running off walls like cats and shit. Halo and Call of Duty literally had you test your opponent's skills, and most of the time your opponent's skills were your friends. I even got an extraction type game mode. I have a battle royale type game mode. I got a siege type game mode. I have this thing called deathmatch democracy. In deathmatch democracy, you literally, all the players vote for what weapons you want in your loadout, and we just walk around and just randomly choose from those each round. A bunch of characters you can choose from, a bunch of loadouts you could make, a bunch of weapons you can create. Somehow your weapon can shoot rocks and still somehow be balanced enough to take out a rocket launcher guy. Okay? I had Omni Movement before Omni Movement was even a thing, my guy. There is not a day goes by where I don't sit there to myself and say, damn, I just witnessed some Garry's Mod type shit. Like back in the day when we used to take pride in our needlework, trick shots. I bet you when the whole FaZe clan, they would have a field day with this fucking mods. And I got this thing called Bullshit Mod, where it's pretty much like these melee finishers, but they're so goofy, like they're just hard to take seriously at all, and that's why I chose them out of all of them. It's like watching and playing the biggest spoof and parody of every single game you know and love, all in one little love letter package. The only thing we're truly missing in this game is a purpose.